Okay, if you have your Bibles, open up to Proverbs chapter 10. Proverbs 10. I was saying earlier, before we got started, how I had actually put together a slideshow like I did last week, and was going to look at specific topics I saw throughout the proverb. But the more I thought about it, the more I felt like that just wasn't right. I almost felt like I was forcing a topic on some of these verses. And maybe you've had that issue when you're studying through or going through the book of Proverbs. It is a difficult, as Larry was saying earlier, it's a difficult book to go through and try to either teach through or preach through, because it's kind of scattered once you get past chapter 9. So I think if that's okay with you, let's read through a few of these and let's discuss them. Or if there's any particular one you do like. What? Oh, you want a slide? Well, I deleted them. And I didn't like the way I broke it. I really do think I was forcing some of these just to try to make my topics. And that can happen. So let's look at the very first few verses. Proverbs 10, starting in verse 1, the Proverbs of Solomon. A wise son makes a father glad, but a foolish son is a grief to his mother. Now, when we go through this, we'll see that the idea, or you'll either say son or the idea of a son, is there all throughout as we read through. In verse 2, ill-gotten gains do not profit, but righteousness delivers from death. Ill-gotten gains do not profit. What does that mean? Because when you gain profit, you got something, right? So you get spiritual advantage. Okay, you think it's speaking of no spiritual advantage. Okay, so you defrauded somebody. It was ill-gotten. It was taken in a bad way. So it does not profit. Larry says that's in a spiritual way. That's right, yeah, not good in the long run. And definitely, I agree. It's spiritually based. This is hurting their soul, their spirit, in the long term, this ill-gotten gain. But righteousness delivers from death. How so? We're looking ahead again spiritually to a better life. And not only that, ill-gotten gains do not profit, but righteousness delivers from death. I think you can apply this spiritually, and I think it should be, but also I think you can apply it to the physical as well. Ill-gotten gains do not profit. I think it destroys the person from what they're intended to be. What God created us for a reason, right? Why did God create us? Serve Him. Okay, to serve Him. He wanted a relationship with us. Oh, Jody, you got your hand up? He loves us and He wants us to come to heaven. You're right. He wants a relationship. And so when you have a ill-gotten gain, that means you, like Jim was saying, you stole it. You got it from someone else in a bad way, in an ill way. And so when you do that, you're hurting those relationships. And God doesn't want that for us, because we were created because God wanted that relationship for us. When you were born into a relationship, right? Mother and a father, maybe siblings. And as you go through life, all we are really doing are creating relationships. Friends, best friends, maybe a spouse, and on, grandchildren, children, and as on and on and on as it goes. So relationships are very important. What are the two commandments, most important commandments that Jesus said were? Right. Building on relationships. It's all about relationships. So you can see this on both sides. It doesn't profit you in those relationships when you have ill-gotten gains. But righteousness delivers from death. I think you're gonna build for yourself friends. What happened to Lot when remember he was living in Sodom, and then some kings came along. They took the city and they took him off captive. Who was there to save him? It's his uncle's, because he was his nephew, right? And so he went off to get him. And who did he take with him? His servants and his friends and others, and a vast army. He was righteous. He had a good-sized army of his own.
His Green Berets.
Yeah, his Green Berets, and he took them out. Lot had nobody to help him in Sodom. No one cared. Or you can even look at the prodigal son, and there's other examples we could look at with that. Let's read on, verse 3. The Lord will not allow the righteous to hunger, but he will reject the craving of the wicked. All right, so let's, that first part. The Lord will not allow the righteous to hunger. Now remember, this is Solomon writing to his sons, right? So this is in the Old Testament. What do you think Solomon meant to his son when he wrote this? Jody. Okay, so physically won't die by hunger. Yes. Jonah. Okay, so you're thinking more spiritually, but not when they die. That'll be more, we'll have those things that feed the soul. But look at that second half. But he will reject the craving of the wicked. What is the craving of the wicked? Power, riches, yeah. Greed. He's going to reject those things. Yes, I think that's exactly what he's saying. He who gathers in summer is a son who acts wisely, but he who sleeps in harvest is a son who acts shamefully. Right, Jody? I don't think she's paying attention. That's the one she was talking about earlier. So that's talking about the laziness. We were having that during the Pew Packers. That's talking about the lazy one who isn't getting out there and doing the work. But the other one who does is acting wisely. Verse 6. Blessings are on the head of the righteous, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. Blessing is on the head of the righteous. From who and why? It's almost a repeat. Okay, from God. Could you also be receiving blessings from those with whom you are having relationships with, your friends or those around you, neighbors? Absolutely. And we see that all throughout Scripture. Those who are righteous, that people will see that, and blessings will come in. And you see that happening to all of God's people, and even God blessing them. But I really want to look at the second part of that. Here we go. Which verse was I reading? 6. Thank you. But the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. Jody. Well, no, I'm not. I don't think so. Remember, what's that word conceal mean? It's oh, Joni, you know what conceals mean? Yes, the hide. So, and what is it hiding? The mouth of the wicked conceals violence. He's hiding it. He's not saying it, so he's saying something else. What do you think he might be saying? Okay, yeah, that could be. He's saying things that aren't true. But I think we talked about this. It's anger. He's concealing his anger when you come and talk to him. And so he's not letting these things out. What do you think he might be angry about? Any ideas? Look at that first part. Remember, blessings are on the head of the righteous. How do those who are wicked feel when they see others receiving praise? Yeah. Who does that make you think of from the book of Genesis? Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel. And even God approached Cain about it. Tried to get him to reconcile and deal with it, and he could not do it. He was concealing the violence within him. Okay.
What did God tell Cain?
Probably something, because God used that term. So, the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. Verse 7, the memory of the righteous is blessed, but the name of the wicked will rot. What is that saying to you? Okay, the righteous will be remembered for good, and it will be a blessing when you remember them. But those who are evil, their name will be rot to your mouth. I think I said this last week or maybe this past Sunday. I'm reading a book about the assassination of Lincoln. And when John Wilkes Booth decided he was going to murder the president, Abraham Lincoln, at first he was going to kidnap him, but he decided he wanted to kill him. And his reasoning was because he knew he would be go down in infamy, or be infamous, but he was excited about that. Now, when we say John Wilkes Booth, any positive thoughts come to mind? Anything at all? Good about that guy? Nothing. He wasn't even a good actor.
It was worse for the doctor who treated him.
Huh?
It was worse for
The doctor who treated him. I haven't gotten to that part.
His name was Mud.
Oh, name was Mud. So,
That's where the saying comes from.
well, I'm still reading. The name of the wicked will rot. The wise of heart will receive commands, but a babbling fool will be ruined. What is that? The wise of heart will receive commands. Jody, Jonah, the wise of heart will receive commands or instructions. What does that mean? Jody. Okay, that is true. You can even put in parents there, right? Yeah, that's what we talked about. When we give instruction, we want you to hear and receive that. So, the wise of heart will receive those instructions. We're trying to lead you in the right path to go. Now, what about a babbling fool will be ruined? What is he babbling about? Jonah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That sound about right? Anybody want to amend that?
I like the literal there. The foolish of lips.
The foolish what?
Of lips.
The foolish of lips
Will come to ruin.
will come to ruin. Yeah, that's right. He who walks in integrity walks securely, but he who perverts his ways will be found out. He who walks in integrity walks securely. What is that? Don't make me keep calling on Jody. She is. All right, Jody, what is that? I mean, even though nobody's watching, correct. The second part? Oh, that's right. Even if no one else sees you doing wrong, God sees, and He knows. Good job, Jody. Very good. We're going to skip a few and see what we can do here. Verse 14. Wise men store up knowledge, but with the mouth of the foolish, ruin is at hand. Wise men store up knowledge, but with the mouth of the foolish, ruin is at hand. Why is ruin is at hand in the mouth of the foolish?
They haven't stored up knowledge.
That, yes, they haven't stored up knowledge. These are simple, I know, but I think sometimes, why is Solomon telling this to his sons? Why is he telling them this?
I don't know, but
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Rehoboam is this. That's probably this verse right here. I mean, if he could have put anything on his forehead, this was it. That fool ruined everything with his words. Destroyed a nation.
God's nation,
God's name. Well,
which is
well,
worse than just any nation.
true. But God handed it to him to take, but he ruined it, as the text says. The wages of the righteous is life, the income of the wicked, punishment. Verse 16. The wages of the righteous is life, the income of the wicked, punishment. Physical, spiritual. What do you think?
Yes.
All right, spiritual. You say yes. Give me the physical.
I think it could be both.
Okay.
Simply because, again, he's already said he's going to bless the righteous. So,
How is the income of the wicked punishment?
let's just say, it talks about beating people in here, so
Yeah.
there's that.
That's true. Who would do business with the wicked, maybe? When you see the ill-gotten gains, you know where it came from. Are you going to engage in business with this guy? Maybe that's what you're saying? I definitely see spiritual. I don't know. I mean,
Well, again, if that drop, you're going to get there, but the staff beats the back of,
the rod on the back.
so again, there is punishment, but again, if there's blessing on the righteous, there's going to be, again, the opposite of blessing is punishment, so
Okay.
they're not going to prosper even if it's not direct punishment.
They may prosper here in the here and now, but in the end, what good is that income? What will it do for them? What do the wicked think, who have no regard for the things of God and the wisdom of God? What do they think is the most important thing to go after in this life? Power and riches. But in the end, what good will that do them? Yeah, nothing. The man who just tore down his barns, built bigger barns, and filled those up, and told himself, "I'll sit back, eat and relax and enjoy it." God called him a fool. A fool, because his life was going to be taken that day, and punishment was upon him. Verse 17. He is on the path of life who heeds instruction, but he who ignores reproof goes astray. We'll keep reading. He who conceals hatred has lying lips, and he who spreads slander is a fool. He who conceals hatred has lying lips. What is hatred? Okay. I should have looked at the Hebrew word here, because there are times where God will say, for example, Jacob I have loved, Esau I have hated. And that just means loved less. Loved less. Here, I'm assuming it's probably a more stronger term. He who conceals hatred has lying lips. So again, conceals hatred. Maybe he's not speaking it forth, making it known. Why is Solomon bringing this out? Have we ever done anything like this? Hey, how are you doing today? But you're actually really upset with this person asking you. Oh, I'm fine. Is it talking about that?
Sorry, I just realized you're not wearing your headset. Maybe you should be by the mic.
Oh,
Contempt, jealousy, just a bad attitude that you're not expressing.
you're not dealing with it. Yeah. When you're concealing something, you're holding it back. And when you hold something back, what are you doing? It's simmering. It's boiling up inside you. Stephanie?
Right in verse 12, it says, hatred stirs up strife.
Hatred stirs up
Literally
strife.
stirring up strife within yourself.
Yeah. You're destroying your soul. We just read that a little bit ago. I don't remember where. You're destroying your own soul. It's eating you up inside. You can see where I was trying to probably do a few topics in here, but I think it felt like it was falling apart. But yeah, and he who spreads slander is a fool. Verse 19, when there are many words, transgression is unavoidable. True? Where there are many words, transgression is unavoidable. Why? Too hard to remember?
Again, I'm reading through Leviticus.
Yeah.
Laws.
It's that exactly. Opening your mouth and inserting your foot. It's when you are maybe you're upset, you're angry, you got something you just really want to get it off your chest, and you begin to go and you end up saying something you wish you could have taken back. And it usually happens when you're acting on emotions and you don't have control of those emotions and you regret it.
I was thinking about politicians in this way. So it's like, because their words are many, but what is behind them? Are they going to make good on their promises? You know, what are their thoughts? Are they evil? Are they good? So when their words are many, it's like, are they doing what is right?
Yeah, and I have noticed whenever, for going with the politician idea, whenever a question's asked and they don't want to answer it, they begin to give this, full-on story that has nothing to do with anything, and the next thing you know, you're in Timbuktu over here, and you're nowhere near where you were actually supposed to be talking. And I see that being here as well. He who conceals hatred has lying lips. I think that's kind of off that. Or he who spreads slander is a fool. And then, we're on 19, that's right. When there are many words, transgression is unavoidable. But he who restrains his lips is wise. Why do you ever need to restrain your lips?
Now it's ahead of your brain.
Yes. Stop and think. And Jonah and Jody and Josh, they know about this, where they come to try to tell me something and you'll hear them say, I said, stop. Think. Think about what you want to say, then say it. Don't just start trying to throw them out there before you had the whole sentence put together in your mind. That's right. Sometimes it's better not to say anything at all. The tongue of the righteous is as choice silver. The heart of the wicked is worth little. There in verse 20. Now verse 21. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for lack of understanding. I feel like that one, again, these seem so obvious. The lips of the righteous feed many. Good, wise words. Heed the words. And this is Solomon talking to his sons, going back to Rehoboam. Who was Rehoboam talking to when he was trying to figure out what he was going to do for the nation? Well, before he talked to his buddy. I guess it's after he talked to his buddy. Solomon's counsel. Yeah, the elder. They were very wise. And then he said, no way. And he talked to his buddies, and they were going to make more money. We're going to tax the daylights out of these guys. And lacked understanding. Verse 22. It is the blessing of the Lord that makes rich, and he adds no sorrow to it. Explain that one to me. Okay, rich in blessings. It is the blessing of the Lord that makes rich. Stephanie?
I think going back to treasures gained by wickedness do not profit. So it's like if you're rich, it's because God has made you that way. Rich in blessings, or even monetarily, whatever it is. And he doesn't add any sorrow to it as long as you gained it through righteousness.
I do agree with that. I think it's spiritual and physical. What you have, everything we have is from the Lord. It is a blessing from Him. And if you have the riches, and in the Old Testament, there was a lot of a blessing of the Lord in a physical way, great blessings. But Solomon wanted his sons to understand that these things come from the Lord. You didn't make this. You didn't create these things. Solomon recognized he didn't create these things. God did. These are blessings from Him. And there's no sorrow from these things as long as you understand where it came from. But as soon as you start thinking like old Nebuchadnezzar, you step out of your balcony, look at all that I've conquered, what happens? Sorrow. You think he had sorrow after that? Man, yeah, but it woke him up. And he was foolish for a while, but God woke him up. Let's drop down to verse 27. We're running out of time. The fear of the Lord prolongs life, but the years of the wicked will be shortened. Okay, let's look at this from the Old Testament point of view. Fear of the Lord prolongs life, and the years of the wicked will be shortened. True physically? Most of the time, yeah. Especially if you live in Israel. So, yeah. All right.
If you're really the Korah.
Yeah. So, or if your dad is Achan, he steals silver. So, what about the New Testament? The fear of the Lord prolongs life, but the years of the wicked will be shortened. True or false? Physically?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But I would say not often. Especially in that first century, Christians were being killed left and right, all over. We sometimes need to remember, who is Solomon writing to? He's writing to his sons. Now let's look at this spiritually. The fear of the Lord prolongs life. The years of the wicked will be shortened. Well, we can see that spiritually, right? Huh? Yeah. That's right. We know there's so much more than this. We'll have the genuine life. The wicked, they live only for the here and now. They're not even preparing for the things after this life. And their life will be shortened. So you can see that in a spiritual way, I think. The hope of the righteous is gladness, but the expectation of the wicked perishes. There's the expectations. That's what we were just saying on the spiritual. The way of the Lord is a stronghold to the upright, but ruin to the workers of iniquity. The righteous will never be shaken, but the wicked will not dwell in the land. The mouth of the righteous flows with wisdom, but the perverted tongue will be cut out. The lips of the righteous bring forth what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked, what is perverted. So on and on again, those last few verses is all about what you're doing and saying compared to the righteous and the wicked. Whether it's happening in the now or later, what's going to happen? The righteous will win, the wicked will perish. The righteous will receive blessings, the wicked will not. The righteous will endure, they will live on, the wicked will not. Isn't that what we want for all our children? And there's simple, easy to understand sayings for us. Read this in a high school, at a public school today, how many would understand it? No. None. I don't think they would understand this at all. If they did, we would not be seeing what we're seeing out there today. Now, when I say in the public school, I'm talking about in general. I know there's good kids at these public schools in some of these places, but what I'm seeing out there more and more of is just, it's not good. Down there, like I was saying at Desert Ridge, they have teenagers and college-age kids stealing 6-7 times a night, groups of them. And this store, that store, and the other. And it's just getting worse, and it's getting worse. We need to teach our kids the difference between righteous and wicked.